Morning world, it's about 7:30 in the morning. It's Friday the 5th of May 2017. Just a brief note before I start looking at today's chart. I'm going to be in Austria next week giving a lecture on the Thursday evening. Details through me, steve@stevejudd.com. I am doing readings. I've got one spot left on the Friday morning, the 12th of May, and I've got a number of slots left for personal readings on Saturday, the 13th of May. So if you're in Vienna and you're interested in seeing me for a reading, drop me an email, steve@stevejudd.com. Now, today's chart: Sun's in Taurus, Moon's in Virgo. Nice, practical, grounded energy around things, but Mercury is in the sky, conjunct Uranus in Aries. Now, in the last few days, quite a few people I know have found it quite irritable, volatile, frustrating and impatient, where things simply aren't working the way they hope, want or expect them to do. This really fits Mercury-Uranus. Mercury is a desire for movement. It's the way you read, write, think, speak and move. It's all systems of communication. And in Aries, it likes to get things done. Its actions speak louder than words. It's a doing position. Uranus is about change and revolution, the need for action more than pontification. And in Aries, Uranus is about individual rights, the rights of the individual. Mercury conjunct Uranus, these are the two planets of communication. Mercury with lower personal communication, Uranus with higher, more global communication, i.e. thought, movement, networking with Mercury, space travel, computers, new technology with Uranus. Put the two together, which is an aspect which normally lasts for a couple of days, and you get unusual, radical, stimulating and generally exciting times of communication breakthroughs. When you find people with a Mercury-Uranus conjunction in their chart, they're the type of person who's always going to be thinking outside the box, coming up with new ideas, new solutions, new alternatives to old problems. It's an interesting position because it's certainly not boring, that's for sure. Thing is, Mercury has now been conjunct Uranus for a week and a half. Most of the time during this it's been retrograde. Now Mercury is moving forward. It is still before Uranus in the natal horoscope. It is not going to pass on Uranus for another day or two, and even then it's going to be sticking around close to Uranus until it leaves Aries and moves into Taurus, which is at least another week away yet. So there is a degree of freneticism, of frustration, of irritability, impatience, because nothing's happening as fast as people want them to. People can be finding they're taking spontaneous, impulsive decisions. I personally have had to sort of bite my lip and say, no, I'm not going to make on-the-spot decisions, despite my tendency to do so at the moment, because it would be very easy and I'd probably later regret it. And I think this is a message that needs to get out into the world. This is not a time for rash decisions or decisions made that are a result of a rush of blood to the head. Instead, it's far better to stop, step back and go, whoa, hang on a minute. Now, this is particularly so for the generation born from 1954 to 1957, because the Mercury-Uranus conjunction is opposite their Neptune. It's also particularly so for the generation born around 1975, with Uranus in the sky opposite their Uranus. But it's also the same for everybody. Everybody seems to be a little bit edgy at the moment. Anything that happens at this time is not going to happen in a normal, conventional way. For example, the French election that's coming up in a couple of days' time. All the polls suggest that the right-wing conservative or the more centralist candidate will win simply because he's up against Marie Le Pen. Even though the guy used to work for Goldman Sachs and is basically nowhere near as independent as he likes to think he is. Probably that's going to happen. There does seem to be a pull to the right wing at the moment, both in France and in Britain, and I do expect both countries to lurch to the right. which would be a shame in my opinion, but that's what the astrology suggests from what I can read. With Mercury conjunct Uranus, we're in for some pretty radical shocks, I suggest, still in a number of different arenas over the coming week. We can't relax yet. Add to this that Mars is coming up to square Neptune over the coming week and a half to 2 weeks, of which more tomorrow. Catch you later, world. Bye.